Our next speaker is promoting CO2-free Nordic industries. And I think it's a rather bold move because we've been discussing the climate change challenge the whole yesterday and its topic today as well. But on the other hand, the main topic for Industry Summit this year was is smarter and greener industry. So I think our next speaker has done a nice job. So please welcome Olavi Raunio from Advent Group.
Okay, thank you. Good to see you all today, and thanks a lot for staying for the afternoon and for my presentation. This picture, it tells a lot about what is important for me in life. As for so many of us, of course, kids and family comes first, but also all my life I've been enjoying the clean nature of Finland, and especially the clean nature of the Nordic Finland. The clean waters, the clean air, the fish, the animals that grow there, and also the 4 seasons. One of my favorite seasons is the winter, and what is best about winter is the deep snow, which I like to enjoy with the snowmobile. Today I enjoy all this stuff together with my kids. I want them to be able to enjoy that all their life. Also their children to be able to enjoy that, and their grandchildren and so on. But I think we all know they cannot. They cannot continue enjoying that. They cannot continue enjoying that unless we do something, unless we do things about the climate change. Of course, there's a big contradiction in this picture because there's a snowmobile. This particular one has 154 horsepower and it can go through anything, but it sucks up a lot of gas. But I think we all have these kind of contradictions in our life. We cannot just not live because every breath we make is a negative thing about the climate change. So today I will be concentrating more about what we can do and doing things. It's a lot more fun to do things than not to do things. So I ride that snowmobile maybe 4 days a year and I share it with others. So the next 250 or 300 days I work with Advent, where together with our customers we find, we build, we run energy solutions of tomorrow that are beneficial for people, for business and for the planet. And that is also what I'm telling you about today, what we can do. So my focus in our work is with industries. But before we jump into that, the practical things we can do with the industries, just a fast poll. How many of you drive an electric vehicle? 2. How many or 3? Okay. How many of you would drive an electric vehicle if it cost no more, if it had the same performance, the same range, and so on? I would. Is there someone who would not? And that's what I thought. How about your business? How many of you would transfer your business into CO2-free if it cost you nothing, if you had the same or better performance than before? Who would not? Okay, that's good. So at least we run on very good basis since you are all with me. Okay, so, and we are very lucky because I think we all also agree that doing is more fun than not doing. So industries, we are all industrialists here, and industries cause half of the energy use in Finland. So there's a big chunk we can work on. What some of you might have not have known is that 70% of this is thermal energy, of which 60% is used in separating water within the forest industries. That is a big individual niche. It is such big that it means total 20% of the total energy consumption in Finland. Not a small figure if you compare it to transportation, for example, 50% more than transportation, 100% more than district heating. Why is that so interesting? Why is that particular one interesting? Well, it's interesting because it has a big impact. It has a big individual one. But it's also interesting because practically all of that energy can be reused. It can be reused in the same process it is initially used in, or in the same mill, or it can be reused in district heating. And it's not even very difficult to do that. Here's an example of where a very big part of that separation energy is going is evaporation, basically just taking water out of another liquid by heating it up. Traditionally, these plants have run by are somewhat energy efficient. This particular one uses 4 times the same energy. So the vapor coming out from one evaporator feeds the next one and so on. So same energy gets used 4 times. This type of multi-stage thing can run up to 8 times. Typical is 4 to 7. However, already for a few decades, there's been better technology available. You can run a closed heat cycle evaporator, which means that the energy never escapes that process. You just run an electrical fan that takes maybe 1/10 of the energy that a multi-stage one would take, so 90% reduction in the whole energy consumption. Not a small impact. And today I'll have an example of this kind of thing, or a case, a practical case we are building at the moment. It is with Kotka Mills. They are a paper and cardboard manufacturer in South Finland. They produce laminating paper and cardboard. Both are special sustainable products. The cardboard is a special one that is biodegradable and recyclable and so on. But doing these products, there is also a contradiction. They are using natural gas to do that, and they have the most sustainable product, but they are using natural gas, and they are in the forest industry. So that sounds a bit funny. Also, their product or production is ramping up, so they are at the same time they don't like to have that natural gas, but and in addition they're running out of steam capacity. So we started to discuss about a new boiler plant or producing more bio-based energy for them. But as usual, part of our work is before we propose anything like that, we look into what has the factory eaten, how is it using its energy, and we found out that okay, there's things to be done with the evaporation plant. So we did exactly what I showed in the earlier picture and proposed of rebuilding the whole evaporation plant, meaning that we would replace most of the steam consumption with the closed heat cycle one. We would still leave some steam consumption there because in the evaporation plant, but even that is recycled steam then from other parts of the pulp process. And this had it did the same job as the boiler thing would have, except that in addition to solving the steam and renewable or sustainability issue, they also got 50% more evaporation capacity. So more production of sustainable products with less energy. So much less that the impact was 50% less steam in the evaporation, which equals about 100,000 megawatt hours of natural gas, equaling 20,000 tons of CO2. And if you compare this to other kind of climate actions, this corresponds to shifting 12,000 diesel vehicles into electric vehicles. Do you know how many electric vehicles we have today in Finland? Anyone? Beginning of this year we had 15,000. So not quite the same, but close. Close the same as all the electric vehicles in Finland. And what do you think this cost to Kotka Mills in the end? 10 million? Actually, for Kotka Mills, this cost nothing. They got savings. But that was a good guess. The investment will is closer to 20 than 10, but we got a subsidy on it, and they will. Advenu is financing and building and operating the plant, so it will actually give them a cost reduction from day one. So I hope this example inspires you. Then I took to think further also, of course, what next. So, and thinking specifically of Oulu region, then just some thoughts. They are equal in any part of the Scandinavia, same kind of opportunities. But if you think of what we really need to do to prevent the climate change, it doesn't matter what mechanism the energy never disappears, so we can use it in many ways, but what we need to stop is combusting, especially combusting fossil fuels. So we cannot continue with the peat. And but there are things to do about this, quite easy ones. Same thing in Helsinki, they have been debating for a long time about how to get rid of the coal. Finally, I've been so happy to see that this opportunity that has been there for ages already. Just, is it 40 kilometers from the capital, there is Neste refinery and other chemical activities that produce huge volumes of secondary heat that goes to the sea. This will now, they are working on getting that to the district heat network of Helsinki, Vantaa and Espoo. Some topics for you then in this surrounding to think about. How much do you think is available here in Oulu? Is there anyone from Oulu here still? Yeah? So how much is available in Oulu? Any idea? I once looked at the figures from the industries here and it was close to 200, so 170 megawatts more or less. It's the same amount that the district heat but the new energy plant, this new CHP plant that is being built at the moment will produce. But of course, it's sometimes difficult to buy from the neighbor, so you might think about a little bit more distant neighbor than in Kemi, because in total Oulu consumes 2.2 terawatt hours, I think, of district heat. And well, especially if the new investment comes in, even the existing plant, we could recover that volume from there and transport it to Oulu. And it would be cheaper than producing it here. But the new plant will have even more. So practically, if you would have this in mind, designing it, there would be about 2 times of what is needed here in Oulu, just from that one pulp mill. And the pipeline, any guesses or ideas what that kind of a pipeline would cost? Janne? 100 million. I think it's a very good guess about that. And you know what the new plant in Oulu will cost? So, yes, 200 million. So, which actually runs us to an interesting topic then. If we start gathering all that excess heat from the industries, what will we do with all that biomass that is left over when we don't combust it anymore? But I think that is a huge opportunity also to create new industries, to think how we can turn that into something more valuable than just burning it in a boiler. Okay, so I would like to end my presentation by asking you to say yes. I think it is more fun to do than not to do. Of course, we need to quit doing some things or do less of those things that are bad for the climate, but there is so much more that we can do, and it's so much more fun doing than not doing. Thank you.
Thank you.